Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Tonight, we are talking about the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Sebastian vanished from his home in February of 2024. Still yet to this day, we have no idea what happened to Sebastian. Recently, there was a filing by Seth Rogers, the father of Sebastian Rogers, claiming that CPS was negligent in not notifying him in the case. And tonight we're going to go over a little bit of that, but we're going to go back and look at the real things in the case that make you go, did Sebastian walk out on his own, or is more involved? A lot to talk about on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face.
Sing it if you know it.
They called me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me I've been whispered about and written off, judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Let's go.
Hold up, lights on, chat in the room, another late night, and another headline blooming. Coffee gone cold, but the story got heat, and one little detail keep tapping my screen. Coming in clutch, when the timeline bends, we don't just scroll, we connect loose ends. Somebody said, nah, that's probably enough, but the chat said, Justin, we're coming in clutch. Run that back, don't rush that part, something fell wrong from the very first start. Different day, same shaky excuse, and the math ain't mathin' when we check the proof. I'm not here to play detective for fame, I'm here when the story starts changing names. One clip, one call, one post, too much, and the whole room knows we're coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, yeah, the facts stay loud.
Oh, baby,
don't
we
hide
love
when we
you.
bring the crowd. Screens lit up and the chat don't sleep. We dig real deep where the stories get steep. Pearls in the chat, lights in the back. Somebody better explain why the story went flat. You can dodge one question, maybe dodge two, but the internet clock what you said don't cue. Wait, Say that again, you said it was there, then it wasn't back then. You said you forgot, but the record got saved. Now the chest wide awake and the room just changed.
Coming in clutch when it all gets strange, when the facts get buried and the tone starts change. We don't need drama, the truth does enough, that's why they pull up, we're coming in clutch.
Late night crew, yeah, we built this thing. One live stream turned to a whole damn ring. Members in green miles holding it down. Whole chat moving like a small town crowd. No fake hype, no lazy spin, just one more clue when we're back again. If it don't sit right, we don't let it slide. We put the detail right up on live.
Coming in clutch, say it one more time. Whole room locked on the very next line. From the first red flag to the final touch, you know where to be, we're coming in clutch.
When the screen fades out and the night gets still, somebody somewhere knows truth comes real. We'll be right here when the next facts drop. Coming in clutch and we don't just stop.
Hey, mother chickens. Hold on 1 second, guys. I apologize. My light just fell. 1 second. Well, hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is July 19th, 2026. It is currently 10:42 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Hello. As soon as I said bam, my light fell. It happens. It happens when you're live. I can make you a really pretty video with cute little edits, but when you're live, it happens. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Tonight, we're talking about the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we're going to go over some things tonight. Sebastian has been recently back more in the news with, the filing that is going on and all that. And Alicia, today's my 51st birthday. Happy birthday, darling. Happy birthday to Alicia. Thank you so much, darling. Hashtag Team Cancer. You are a Cancer as well, like I am. Happy birthday, Alicia. Everyone wish Alicia a happy birthday. Happy birthday from all of us here at Clutch Them Pearls to you. This is my rendition of a happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alicia. Happy birthday to you. And many more, darling. Good to see you. Hi, Jim. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Pearl family. Appreciate you, my darling. Welcome to the Pearl family. How you doing? Good to see you, my dear. Appreciate you. Hobo, thank you for 18 months, honey. I am praying for you and yours as your mom makes her transition. It is tough. It is tough. I have been in your shoes, and that's tough. I understand, and I pray that a peaceful transition for your mom and for all of you. Very, very tough. Much love to you, my friend. If you need anything, reach out to me. I'm not a doctor, but I have worked at hospice, and if I can help you in any way, shape, or form, you just reach out to me, my friend. Hello, Spirit Seeker. Good to see you, my friend. American Woman. Thank you for the sparkles. Appreciate you, baby. It's good to see you, my dear. Thank you so much. Tonight, we're talking about the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case, and a lot of things We're not really going over much of the filing tonight. It's absolutely incredibly awful. What happened, what is claimed to happen in those documents. And again, this is the most toxic case I've ever covered. I'm just going to be flat out with you. The absolute most toxic case. It's either you don't like one of the parents in one way, shape, or form. It feels like it's divided on the teams, whatever. But the filing has nothing to do with, one side or the other. The filing is that if someone has joint legal and joint physical custody and there's a report, much less 2 reports, the parent should be notified. Any parent should want to be notified. Seth had a good live stream yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Spirit, thank you so much. Appreciate you, my love. Thank you very much for the gift, honey. Kind of talked about some things on the documents, the filing rather. He has to be, careful about some of the things that he speaks about. It was really good. It was really good, Spirit, really was. And tonight we're going to go back because this is the thing. We can talk about, did this parent do this or did this parent do that? And, because we don't like one or the other or whatever. But what really matters at the end of the day is what happened to Sebastian the night he went missing. That's what really matters. That's what matters. Now, I agree. The things that leading up to a child's disappearance is absolutely important, and they matter. But in that filing, there are claims. They are claims that the stepfather was not thoroughly vetted on how he got to on where he was that night. From what I understand, the claim makes that, which we read it and stuff, but it's the police allegedly said that they went or they checked to see where Seth or Chris was, but they didn't give real specifics on how they did that, right? And you guys know where I stand on this case. It's not a secret, but every opinion is welcome in here tonight, as long as you are decent about it. You don't have to agree with me on anything. I am one of 8 billion people on the planet with an opinion. Don't get your panties in a wad, okay? So have your opinion, but like I said, you guys know where I stand. I support Seth on this. I really wish that Chris and Katie would seemingly do more for Sebastian when it comes to, being proactive in his case. Now, the parents, Seth, Chris, Katie, they have spoken out to a lot of creators. And, they've all said different things. And tonight we're going to go back because on some specific things that Chris, the stepfather, said, I want to go back on because it's something that a lot of creators don't speak about in this case. Well, I mean, they speak about Chris and all that, but the things that I am going to be talking about tonight, I believe, are some of the most important. I want to say, let me give a disclaimer before we get started.
Disclaimer. In no way, shape, or form are we accusing, blaming, or declaring anyone guilty of any crime. Everything discussed here is based on publicly available information, media reports, court records when available, and our own commentary and opinions. Everyone is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. This content is for discussion, awareness, and public interest commentary only. Please do not contact, harass, threaten, or attack anyone mentioned. We are here to ask the questions, examine information, and keep attention on these cases, not to convict anyone online.
Okay, so we're not here to convict anyone online. An opinion is just that, an opinion. It's not a fact. And all that. Hello, Kim. Good to see you. Why the parents didn't come together as one bothers me. It's their son. Listen, I understand. I understand. But you know how, when someone, when these things happen, sometimes there's a lot of finger pointing. Just like when someone passes away, like a lot of families at the funeral home, like I've seen it. I have, you guys know I've worked in funeral homes as well. Worked in 3 different funeral homes. I have seen people fist fight right in front of the caskets before. I'm not even joking. In front of their dead loved ones. So I have seen it all. I have seen it all. So it happens. It happens. All right. There's a little bit more. There is a little bit impossible for unity. I want to see Sebastian found. I don't for a second. I don't make any qualms about it. I don't for a second think Sebastian walked out on his own. I don't think anybody really with a brain, in my opinion, thinks Sebastian walked out on his own. That something happened. Something happened that night when there's nothing of him showing that he walked out on his own. Whenever he doesn't take his shoes, he doesn't take his phone, he doesn't take a coat, and the story of the 911 calling, the story just doesn't make sense from the night before, and the don't talk about my truck, all of that stuff, right? All of that stuff. And so I think something is very, very important. And our friend Nerdy Addict did some amazing reporting 6-9 months ago. And I want to talk to you guys about that. I know some more on it. We'll talk about as well. But yeah, so we'll get into that here in just a second. No scent picked up by the dogs. No. I do believe there's something that happened in that house that night. Some people think this was planned. Some people don't. Oh, Southern Girl, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much, baby. Appreciate you very, very much, my love. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Miss Southern Girl. Very sweet of you, my dear. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Southern Girl. Appreciate you very much, baby. Good to see you. Fundeski says, Spirit Seeker, yes. Mom left Tennessee to West Virginia for the DNA. Oh, okay. That's another case we're talking about. Yes, guys, please hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. Greatly appreciated. In my opinion, it is true. Something went very wrong the evening of February 25th, 2024. Hashtag CKP knows the truth. I think that she knows. I do. That's my opinion. I think that she knows. I think that really honestly, most people, especially outside of YouTube, believe something is wrong here, right? and no matter where you stand at, I think you got to admit that Katie's story is not, something is wrong, right? Something is wrong here. Oh my God, Southern Girl. Thank you. My gosh, thank you so very much. That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you so very much, Southern Girl. Really, really appreciate that. You did it again. Thank you so much, love. Very, very sweet of you. Really appreciate that, Southern Girl. Hey, Frosty, where you been, girl? Good to see you, honey. Tomorrow, having a special guest on. We're going to be covering Jack and Lily tomorrow, and having a special guest. So make sure, if you guys follow the Jack or Lily case, make sure you join me tomorrow, because something is fishy. Yes, yeah. And I've known about, allegedly, when it comes to the filings, I've known allegedly about the neighbor speaking out about hearing allegedly that what they claim is the father or the stepfather saying that really bad things about Sebastian, that he didn't care if he was allegedly dead or alive. Again, that's a claim. I don't know why, in my opinion, a neighbor would make that up. To me, that seems like it is for a neighbor to come out and be quoted and be interviewed about that, living so close to someone, would be uncomfortable, right? But I feel like they're doing what they feel is right. Now, there has allegedly been other things that was heard outside, closer to when Sebastian went missing as well, about allegedly disparaging comments to Sebastian as well. So tonight I want to go back to me, what matters the most, and that is the timeline. What Nerdy Addict claims that was spoken about from Chris himself. Right? Hold on one second. What is it? You try to leave the neighbor's business to them, but if you overhear stuff, it's not easy to ignore. And that's exactly right, Virginia. If you're familiar with Jack and Lily's case, they live, it's in Canada, but very small community. I believe the neighbors, because they didn't want to come out and say that they heard a car or anything. Just like in this case, you don't want to come out and say, you heard your neighbor saying this, but you don't expect a child to go missing next door either. So I applaud anyone who's, sees something, does something as well. So our friend Nerdy Addict spoke about some things, and to me, it's some of very interesting things that we're going to talk about. Fantasy says, I almost believe that KP gave Sebastian to foster care or a behavioral camp, in my opinion, without Seth's approve, in my opinion. See, I don't. I think, I don't think that would, I think that would have been found out pretty quickly, in my opinion. It'd have been found out pretty quickly. You can't just, if you have joint legal custody, and you're going to, Sebastian has medication, all this, you're just not going to be put in a place in the FBI, TBI, Sumner County law enforcement. No, you know what I mean, Mama? Thank you so much Thank you all so much for your gifts and all that. I appreciate you. Mods, please remind me to thank everyone at the end of the live stream with the jewels and stuff. I can't see them on my side, so I don't want you to think I'm being stuck up or ungrateful or anything. I just can't see them on my side. I'm sorry to say I am new to this case, but I do not believe the mother and stepfather. I think the mother did something to save her marriage. And Styro, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you on that. From what we hear, at least allegedly, that there was, trouble in the marriage, which happens, right? It happens, especially, the stepfather. This was his fifth marriage. This was his fifth marriage. And I think that Sebastian was... listen, Sebastian, it's hard to raise a kid. It's hard. It's even the best behaved child is hard. It's hard to raise a child, a human being, for 18 years. Let's be real. If you're a parent, you get it. It's even more difficult raising a child with special needs or that's had Sorry about that. I know I glitched. I glitched for a second. My internet was changing. I apologize. Sorry, I was fixing that. It'll be frozen for a second. I apologize. Let me know when you... am I back? Okay. It was internet. Yeah. So whenever you're raising a kid that has trauma, you're raising a kid that has special needs, autism, chromosome deletion, a split family. A divorce is hard for a kid. It's very hard for a kid to just, it's that, sometimes really messes with the kid's head. You don't want to see divorces happen, but they do, right? You don't want to see two parents fighting in front of the kid all the time either. That can mess them up as well. So there's a divorce, and then there's a new man, Chris, in Sebastian's life, and there is moves that happen from California to Tennessee, a couple moves in Tennessee. A lot was going on, and that's very stressful for everybody. And I just think that, in my opinion, it's been Chris's way or the highway, in my opinion, pretty much his whole life, because I think the marriages show that. You know what I mean? And after 5 marriages, you got to kind of, in my opinion, look in the mirror, and say, oh, I'm probably not really good at this. But anyway, moving on here, our friend Nerdy Addict, he went to go look for Sebastian several months ago, and he got, I guess, Chris, the stepfather, got in touch with him when he was down there, My opinion, it's a way for him to manipulate or control the situation while he knows someone is down there looking for Sebastian, but that's just me. You can have your opinion, I can have mine. And so we're gonna listen to some things, and then we're gonna go over some very, very specific things that I believe just they don't want us to talk about, in my opinion. Make sure you guys sub up to our friend Nerdy Addict here on Facebook. He's also on X. Nerdy Addict, he does really great work, in my opinion. Lakeside, thank you so much, baby. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super sticker. Really, really do appreciate you, love. Good to see you. Of course, Frosty, good to see you. Plus, no legit agency covered by DSHS payment would risk their license without state authorization. I agree. 1,000%, Don. 1,000%. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So I wanted to break this down on how I met Chris Proudfoot, how that interaction went, and how we ended up here. Barbecue Lady put me in touch. I had put out on X, formerly Twitter, that I had run out of flyers, and apparently Sebastian's stepfather had some ready to go. So I agreed to meet him and expected it just to be an exchange of flyers. And
you're gonna
ended
flip.
up talking.
You're gonna flip.
An hour outside, and then it started raining, and we went inside his truck.
Okay.
And started talking.
So this is Nerdy Addict. He was down there. It started raining. He's in the truck. He's in the truck with Chris, who is Sebastian's stepfather. Okay. Very important. Very, very important.
It was a good conversation. Some of the details have been disclosed out on X. We can review them all, but there were 3 areas specifically that,
and I 100% trust Nerdy's reporting on this. 100%, because of certain things I know as well.
That he asked me not to broach in the truck, and then in text. Fast forward to the past couple of days, I've been trying to coordinate a live stream with Stephen Crabtree and Sebastian's stepfather. Last night, put it out on Twitter that I was sort of waiting. I'm a perfectionist, if you will. If I schedule someone to come on, I will schedule it the night before and then confirm a couple hours in advance. And an hour went by, and then it was getting close to the live stream, and I started feeling disrespected. I put it out on X that I was sitting there waiting for confirmation, didn't get nothing, and then finally.
Okay. So he's talking about how he met Chris and the exchange with the flyer and all that stuff. And he's was talking about scheduling a live, and he felt like Chris disrespected him. And then there's certain things that Chris did not want Nerdy to talk about.
I had enough and said, I'm tired of being disrespected, and I'm going to disclose the 3 things that they didn't want disclosed. I was already struggling with it because people in the Urban Mafia know that we crowdsource.
Now, if he doesn't want it disclosed, the question is why? Why? Now, you could say, different reasons why he wouldn't want it disclosed, but I'll let you make
this information. This is all about Sebastian. It's about no one else. I don't give a shit. I'm never going to interact with these people in the future. And I don't mean to be crude, but that's where we've landed. We've worked a lot of cases, and working with caregivers is really problematic. So,
hey, Laura,
we'll start from the beginning,
see, baby.
I'm going to go to my Discord notes. I think the first thing we spoke about was the polygraph, and sort of.
Okay, the polygraph has been a big thing, right? Because you got to remember the first interview that Chris and Katie ever did was polygraphs, plural, have came back as passed. He didn't say who or when. Remember, we played that ad nauseum how many times. And then he, you don't have to play with words like that if your kid is missing. You don't have to play with a fucking thing saying polygraphs have came back as passed or whatever. You either took a polygraph or you didn't. Let's be real. You don't have to play with words when your 15-year-old autistic chromosome deleted child who is having problems anyways is missing. You don't have to play with that. Okay? I think we can all agree on that. Right? Now, then Chris actually said that even Seth passed a polygraph then. No, he didn't. He didn't pass a polygraph then because Seth didn't even have a polygraph back then. Not true. Seth didn't take a polygraph till months later whenever the Nancy Grace show was on. And he passed. Well, Chris said he would take one. He didn't. Then he said, before he did all this, he said, no, I didn't need to take a polygraph test because of the police know where I was, right? They knew where I was. Before that was, I didn't say who or when, but polygraphs came back as passed. Well, you didn't take a polygraph back then. Katie may have, and Seth didn't back then. Didn't happen. So, to me, that's not a good start, lying about a lie detector. But onward and upward. Chris said all three were taken to 3 different locations and had polygraphs done. Sure did. Yeah. Which was absolutely not true. Seth's like, I didn't take a polygraph back then. They actually did know where Seth was. He was in a freaking jail working. But, Seth didn't have to lie about that, in my opinion. Yes, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate you guys being here. Double tap that screen if you're on the mobile.
I'm going to put up aerial footage so it gives folks an idea of land. This is Drake's Creek Park, where police searched. It's near creeks. And
he didn't end up taking that polygraph test with Nancy Grace.
the 3 subjects that he didn't want broached were the dogs,
Listen.
Sebastian's behavioral health, and an incident with police. And
Okay, so what I am going to talk about here is the polygraphs, but more importantly, his interaction with the police. Again, this is coming from Nerdy speaking to the stepfather in his truck. Okay? And we're going to talk about seeming like what nobody focuses on. And I think, in my opinion, needs a lot more focus in this case.
we're not going to really talk about Sebastian's behavioral health. We know
Not
that
going
he's
to talk about that
autistic.
here either.
We know that there are behavioral issues with autistic children, teens, adults. They behave differently, and this stream is not to go over that. We will talk about vaguely, because I think it does connect how some of those behavioral health issues tied into people he knew, meaning connections from school to the neighbors. I don't know where you guys want to start. I don't know if you want to call in or if you want to come in on Zoom, Lady Justice, but that's up to you. The Zoom is open, the telephone line is open, either or works. I'll start with the polygraph.
Easy for him.
Said that during the investigation, they were going down to the fire station, which was the command post for the search and rescue, which was right down the street, and you'll see it. And I think I showed it on the ground there too, and I pointed it out. But when Katie got there, law enforcement surprised her and said, "Look, we're gonna take you for a ride, right?" She had no idea what was happening. They put her in the car. They took her to the station.
No, Barbecue just said him. So Nerdy Addict, he goes different places. He looks for, missing. He investigates all that, and she had just set him up with Chris Sassy. She just set him up so they could get the flyers.
To an interview room and asked for a polygraph. She took the polygraph, and then it was asked the same for Sebastian's stepfather and Seth Rogers. It's my understanding.
Listen to this.
And asked what was enforcement. Surprised her, but when Katie got there, law enforcement surprised her and said, "Look, we're gonna take you for a ride." Right? She had no idea what was happening. They put her in the car. They took her to the station, to an interview room, and asked for a polygraph. She took the polygraph, and then it was asked the same for Sebastian's stepfather and Seth Rogers. It's my understanding Seth Rogers has taken a polygraph on the Nancy Grace show, but there were some issues with it. He had to retake it. Sebastian's stepfather took the polygraph. However, there was one question that he...
I do not believe, in my opinion, that the stepfather has taken a polygraph. I don't for a second. Nancy Grace set him up with a polygraph for the former head of the FBI polygraphy division, the number one of number one on polygraphs. Okay? He did not take it. With Nancy. I do not believe after that was offered, he took one with TBI. Just because. He certainly didn't take one, in my opinion, before Nancy Grace.
He got hung up on, in which he himself disclosed to law enforcement and said, "Look, I don't know how to answer this." And the question was related to, have you ever lied to authorities or police?
So he's saying here, Chris is allegedly telling Nerdy that, oh yeah, he took one with TBI, and he got hung up on one question, and it's, have you ever lied to authorities? Right. No, I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
In the past. And he sort of got caught up with that and explained to them that perhaps he did. Maybe it was when he was younger, but there was an anomaly there, I believe, in which he had to explain to law enforcement why that question was problematic.
Now, what is interesting to me, in my opinion, is he is allegedly telling Nerdy that this story, right? That, yeah, I took a polygraph, and yeah, everything came back fine except that one question, did you ever lie to authorities? Well, you can lie to authorities about, officer, I wasn't speeding, right? But I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all. Not that I don't, it's not that I'm not saying I don't believe Nerdy. I don't believe the stepfather's story, in my opinion.
Fast forward, and this is the most significant piece of information. And I'm going to disclose it, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter now.
Listen.
Roughly 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, law enforcement descended on his residence and executed a search warrant.
Now, this is another point, and this is a huge point, in my opinion. 1 year later, after Sebastian went missing, vanished from his home, they come back to the Proudfoot home, and they descended a search warrant on the home. From what I understand, I don't know what Nerdy's going to say here, but from what I understand, they were very interested in electronics, i.e. security cameras and phones. Phones. Hey, Cal. Good to see you. Now, if you remember, the stepfather, there was a question about a warrant being executed at his house. If you guys remember that, even before Nerdy Attic, there was this question. Now, he said, if I recall correctly, Chad, help me out here. He said that it was, this is when Betty's and them were like in a lawsuit or restraining orders or whatever. He said it was the police bringing him something for court or something like that. Do you remember that? Anyone remember that? I remember that. He said no search warrant, nothing like that. Well, he told Nerdy right there.
They seized multiple electronic devices.
Oh, there we go.
And this is the interesting part to me. So they confiscated laptops and more. And it's the
laptops. From what I understand, they were highly interested in cameras as well. Now, again, Sebastian's mother, she works for a security camera security company, installing home security cameras, all of that. It just so happened that the night Sebastian went missing, their cameras were sadly not working.
interesting because, again, this is hearsay. This is someone telling me that they had already given over these devices willingly. Okay. So
yes. And that is one thing that specifically the stepfather, he said there's no wrongdoing. There is nothing going on of anything nefarious or any of that nature. Now, I want to say, again, we are not claiming that anyone has done a crime here, that anyone is involved in anything of the sort, because law enforcement has said that they have no suspects in the Sebastian Rogers case, no persons of interest, all of that. Okay? But just keep listening.
this is the information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic, because you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about.
There we go, Emmy Joe. I remember he said it was a subpoena for Katie to appear in court, but it was not. Dispatch said serving a warrant on Stafford Court. Yes, that is exactly right, Emmy Joe. That's exactly right. Thank you for that.
A judge signing off on it.
Listen to this.
Willingly, okay? So this is the information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic, because you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about a judge signing off on a search warrant, right? There needs to be probable cause. And I asked to see that search warrant or what the probable cause was. And the response was that it's sealed.
He breaks up a little bit here, right? So Nerdy asked him the question, Chris, can I see that that search warrant? Because they hand you what they're probably going to be taking out of your house. You got to have probable cause. A judge or a magistrate has to sign off on that. It takes a lot of generally probable cause for someone to go in there and violate your constitutional rights, right? So they were very interested in these electronics devices.
Police confiscated 3 cameras in addition to all the other electronic devices, okay?
I just want to replay this. It breaks up a little bit, but
And the
listen.
response was that to crime information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic, because
Very important.
you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about a judge signing off on a search warrant, right? There needs to be probable cause. And I asked to see that search warrant or what the probable cause was. And the response was that it's sealed. Police confiscated 3 cameras in addition to all the other electronic devices, okay? And those 3 cameras were added after Sebastian went missing. One of those cameras was from Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. Apparently, they installed a camera in her room after Sebastian went missing, and 2 other cameras. People are saying I'm choppy. Could be bandwidth. I don't know.
Now they're saying that it could be.
Is that better? Yeah, I see it. Choppy voice. Is that better? Thank you, Indy.
That they were, they come in a year later. He says it's sealed. He says it's sealed. Now, a year later, it's even more difficult to get that search warrant. If you know how search warrants work, for the authorities to go to a judge and say, we need something or some things out of this house 1 year later that you could have gotten when you was in that house 1 year ago, right? For you to go back in that house, that is a lot. That's a lot. Very, very, very important.
Okay. So they confiscated 3 cameras that were added in the home after Sebastian went missing, which was interesting to me. One of those cameras was placed in Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. I believe she's 8 years old. Police confiscated those cameras with the search warrant that was executed. I don't know what evidence led them to obtain a search warrant from a judge.
Mm-hmm.
We know that's sealed now.
Yeah, there was, I remember that, but I was right around the time. Was that when they did it? I was thinking it was before, but was it right then? It's interesting.
Yeah, Kate, which part do you need repeated? I'm going to put the link in for Brianna. So let me just get the link for Brianna here, guys.
Thank you, Barbara.
I want her to join.
Thank you, love. Appreciate you very much. Thank you, honey.
Okay, so
Good
police
to see you.
executed a search warrant 1 year after Sebastian went missing at the residence. They confiscated electronics. They confiscated 3 cameras that were added.
That was when they did it. They did the search while they were in court. LOL. Damn, Emmy. Damn.
Okay, so police executed a search warrant 1 year after Sebastian went missing at the residence. They confiscated electronics. They confiscated 3 cameras that were added after Sebastian went missing. So 3 cameras were added inside the home after he went missing.
They got a laptop
and
too.
Police felt the need and had a warrant to seize those devices.
Absolutely.
One of those cameras was inside the daughter's room. I don't know. I sort of ran this by Eva when we were talking and said, is that normal? Is it not normal? It depends on your parenting style. So I don't want to judge that, right?
Oh, I see what he's saying there. So, I mean, a camera inside the child's room. I'm not going to comment.
Parents want to keep
But
an eye
don't
on
do
their kids,
that.
and that's interesting. It's also interesting because
But to me, if you remember me speaking about how Sebastian would go to the kitchen and in the middle of the night and allegedly be screamed at because he was going to the fucking kitchen. To me, that's not normal. That's just not normal. I just don't care. He's a 15-year-old boy. If he's hungry in the middle of the night, let him get up and get a fucking sandwich. It's not that big of a deal.
because I don't know. I asked his dad, like, do you trust Katie? And his response was, I trust her with my 8-year-old daughter, right? But then the fact that they had to put a camera in the room just sort of struck me as odd. So that was the first piece. The link should be there for Lady Justice when she joins. I should see her. Hey, there you are. Okay, let me put you on the screen here.
Not my face, please.
You could turn off your video before I put you up here. But actually, no, I think folks can hear you. I don't even need to put you on the screen. Can everybody hear Lady Justice? Wait a second for the chat to respond.
Let me read that. Seth has stated on his live, said that the courts have sound on their cameras. I wish there was a way for Seth to obtain that. It would be deleted by now. I bet the conversation would give clues. Oh, I got you. You mean when the court was going on? Mm-hmm. Yes, what Emmy Joe's saying is correct. The one he's referring to. So allegedly there was a camera in his daughter's room when she only visits like twice a year. Yeah.
Go ahead and say something. Yeah, they're saying yeah, so they can hear you. How are you, Lady Justice? What do you want me to call you, Lady Justice? Brianna, what do you want me to call you?
Brianna works because I was getting some really ugly comments about Lady Justice. So I'm assuming there's another one. It actually went choppy.
Missing. Law enforcement,
Okay.
Hopefully, if it gets choppy again, let me know. This is a new setup. But roughly 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, law enforcement descended on his residence and executed a search warrant. This is 1 year after he went missing, seizing multiple electronic devices, including 3 cameras that had been installed after his disappearance. That was the information that he was guarding and did not want disclosed, one of 3. But I want to take a moment for everyone to process that, think about it, and let you comment on it.
That's crazy. The fact that they took footage after the fact of him going missing makes me wonder what they wanted to know that was going on in the house afterwards.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the cameras imply that, right? Because those cameras pick up everything. So confiscating the cameras, they obviously took more than that, right? But he seemed to mention those cameras at least 2 or 3 times while we were in the truck. And it seems important, right? When someone is telling you that they trust their partner.
Kiki says, the video is interesting to me, Justin. There's a part where he says that CP says they 3 Wade, the sheriff. I don't know what you mean. My question is, did they call his personal number allegedly? Maurice, I was getting ready to text you. Are you okay, girl? How are you? How's the grandbabies? I was thinking about you.
You know, and maybe it could be for other reasons. I don't know. I've never put cameras in my children's room.
Me and you, thank you so much for 9 months. You're always amazing. Thank you for being you. Thank you, me and you. Thank you for 9 continuous months. Really, really do appreciate you, my dear, of your support. Thank you very much. The 3-way call to sheriff. I gotcha. Just hang tight. Just hang tight on that. That's all I can say right now. It certainly wasn't a normal call.
Growing up, baby monitors ended when they were babies, right? So I don't know.
I'm working on, well, I'm not. Someone is working on some more things on that right now. So,
it's sort of, it's up to the parent, I guess.
Right. That meant, you did say they collected ones they installed after he went missing, correct?
After. These 3 cameras were added after Sebastian went missing. And then when police hit the house with a search warrant, and again, let's think about the search warrant.
Well, we don't know if Sebastian had a camera in his room when he went missing. However, there was cameras in the house. Now, they always asked Chris and Katie, did you have cameras in your house? But they would not answer. That is something they would say, oh, that's security, and I don't want to answer that. I mean, if you had cameras in your house, right, and a 15-year-old boy walked out of your home, you would have him walking out of your home in the middle of the night, right? Just like you would have Katie going to bed at midnight. Very simple. You either have cameras and you didn't want something being seen, in my opinion, on those cameras, or you didn't have cameras at all. It's not that, big of a deal to say whether you have cameras or not, in my opinion. Mini Panthers, trauma from his cats being taken, and then the snake, that as well, yes. and just his general stuff in his room being thrown out. I agree. So sad, man.
Right, a judge needs to sign off with probable cause. That probable cause document is sealed, as I know it. I reached out to him, said, "Can you pull the probable cause document?" And they said it's sealed. Their attorney tried grabbing it. So I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means, but I felt like it was important, and obviously they do too if they didn't disclose it. I reached out to TBI. TBI pointed me to Sumner. I reached out to Sumner County last night. They have not responded, but I know it's true because the neighbor that I spoke to originally, before I met Chris Proudfoot, she didn't know it was a search warrant, but she said, yeah, roughly like, maybe it was a year after Sebastian went missing. I saw.
Yes. And Nerdy Addict is 100% right on this. The other neighbors knew that this was taking place as well. So there's that.
A whole lot of cops parked out front. I don't know what they were doing, but that led me to.
I believe it was local, Minnie. I'm pretty sure it was local on that.
Obviously, the information about the warrant. So I'll let you take the mic.
Sorry, I do remember that, but I never did hear what they obtained, and definitely not that they obtained footage from after. It's just going to take me a little bit to process.
Yeah. Well, I'll go on. We'll talk about the dogs. I presume, first of all, people joining, I like to do my own independent thing on the ground. So if the information was already out there, fine. If not,
really?
Good question, Tracy.
The dog thing is interesting. I'm going to stop on the aerial footage so we can see it from the air.
Yeah.
And here's how it was described to me.
You would think Katie would have the house protected, especially since she works for Brinks. So not too long after Sebastian went missing, they got new cameras installed. You guys remember that? Remember that? They got a whole set of new cameras, which I found very interesting. Very interesting. No, love you, darling. It's two sick in-laws. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's winter where you're at. I forgot. Yes, that's even worse. Thank you so much for the clutch, Joan. Appreciate you very much, honey. Good to see you. Good to see you, baby.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Search dogs. So first, dogs were used to pick up the scent of Sebastian.
Okay, this is very important because this is something that hardly anyone talks about since this has been revealed. And like I've always said, I know some things in this case that I can't say, but I knew when Nerdy released this that he is telling the truth. Just like I knew about the neighbors saying that thing about Sebastian and certain things that Seth alleged in the reports. That's new. I knew that stuff. Never said anything, obviously. But when Nerdy said this, I was like, okay, he knows. He knows. So listen to this.
Stop on the aerial footage so we can see it from the air. And here's how it was described to me. Search dogs. So first, dogs were used to pick up the scent of Sebastian, meaning we all know that they would give him clothes, socks, right, to pick up the scent. The scent, he said, led across the street to the neighbor's house, and specifically to the playscape that I guess they had a playground or like a little playscape swing set slide. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Kiki. Did they ever check KP van? Didn't Seth say no with equipment in there? I don't know about that. I would think that they would have. I hope that they would have. I don't think the van was used, though, in my opinion. I don't think the van was used. But yeah, I would hope they would. Thank you, baby.
But the sniff dogs went to that area first. The canines went to that area first. If I remember correctly, he said this was in between the house of Bobby and their teens and in between three Muslim women who lived in the house next to them.
This right here, in my opinion, is a story coming from the stepfather. That's all, just to try to push it off somewhere else.
So the canines pick up the scent, they go into the playscape, and then they take it from there. They go across the street to the creek. In the first video on the ground, you see that sort of shack there, the barn there, where it says Shackle Island. That behind there is the creek.
That's a very good point, Emmy. Very good point. If they looked in there and saw equipment, they wouldn't think anything odd, but their actual cameras could have been stashed in there amongst other items. Very interesting.
He then says that the canines continue the scent down the creek at some point, and I don't know where, but it's somewhere between the creek and Old Hickory Dam, which is why I showed it.
Okay, I'm going to back this up a little bit because I need y'all to listen to this. I need you to hear it very good. Listen.
The Shackle Island, that behind there is a creek. From there, they go between the house of Bobby and their teens, and in between 3 Muslim women who lived in the house next to them. So the canines pick up the scent, they go into the playscape, and then they take it from there. They go across the street to the creek. In the first video on the ground, you see that sort of shack there, the barn there, where it says Shackle Island. That behind there is the creek. He then says that the canines continue the scent down the creek at some point, and I don't know where, but it's somewhere between the creek and Old Hickory Dam, which is why I...
Okay, so he's saying that Chris is saying that they get the scent of Sebastian, and the dogs go through close to Bobby's, and 3 Muslim women. I don't know why their religion has to come into it, but anyway, and then they go to like this old building, and then this creek, and then it goes to Old Hickory Dam. Do you know how far Old Hickory Dam is from there? Does anyone in chat know? If I recall, it's like 8 miles. Oh yeah, he did. Yes. Miles.
I showed it. It switches off to cadaver dogs. Cadaver dogs showed it, and I don't know where, but it's somewhere between the creek and Old Hickory Dam, which is why I showed it. It switches off to cadaver dogs. Cadaver dogs led to the dam.
Bingo. Cadaver dogs led to the dam. Now, in my opinion, and things that I know, I'll just say 7 miles via roads. Thank you, Sassy. I agree with that, Lakeside, yes. He is mixing some truths with some untruths, which is very typical because usually someone has to have an anchor. There's some truth in the lies generally. So we move from scent dogs, looking for Sebastian, to cadaver dogs going to Old Hickory Dam. That's true, Rogue. Listen.
Where, but it's somewhere between the creek and Old Hickory Dam, which is why I showed it. It switches off to cadaver dogs. Cadaver dogs led to the dam. Now, I had a whole lot of questions for ChatGPT because I don't know if someone drowned 6 months ago, if cadaver dogs are going to pick up on that scent or not. I'm not a canine specialist. I'm just relaying what he disclosed. So again, the canines that picked up his scent went across the street first, in between the 3 Muslim ladies' house and Bobby's house with the teenagers. It then took them to the creek across the street, and then dogs, both canines and cadaver dogs, then followed it and stopped at Old Hickory Dam.
Old Hickory Dam. Well, damn. Okay. Well, it's not the only thing that's interesting about Old Hickory Dam, because you got to remember a year later, they come back and they're interested in cameras, allegedly a phone or phones, and a laptop, and maybe more stuff, right? Absolutely. I call it the anchor. The anchor. So just keep listening.
So I thought that was interesting for a lot of reasons. I've worked water cases before, Connecticut, Riley Strain in Tennessee. Usually the dam is the most interesting area for a deceased person because they're going to get hung up there. Now, what's interesting is that he told me that the water was exceptionally high at this time of the year. And when it happened, I think if I remember, he said 10 to 12 feet higher than normal. It doesn't sound like they were able to reduce the water levels to properly check the dam. He also said that there's contention between Sumner County and TBI. Sumner County believes that we'll just...
Okay. Now, I knew Nerdy was, which I didn't doubt him to begin with. I want to make that clear. But I knew he was telling the truth with certain things that he said. One being that the TBI and Sumner County were not agreeing on what happened to Summer. I was going to say Summer. To what happened to Sebastian. And when he said this, I was like, he's absolutely telling the truth, because I knew that. Now, I don't believe what Chris is saying, what Chris told him next about what they think happened to Sebastian. I don't believe this part, and I have reasons, I'll just say. But listen.
They were able to reduce the water levels to properly check the dam. He also said that there's contention between Sumner County and TBI. Sumner County believes that, we'll just summarize, but they believe, Sebastian ran away, slipped on a rock, and drowned and died. Whereas TBI doesn't believe that. They believe a different scenario here. So
now, I do believe there is contention between Sumner County and TBI. I've known that since way before Nerdy put this out. I don't know if I've ever said that publicly or not, but I've known that. But I do not believe Sumner County thinks that Sebastian walked away and slipped on a rock. I don't even believe Sumner, as much as I can't stand Sheriff Snuggle Struggle and how I believe they botched this case, I do not think that Sumner County thinks that Sebastian walked away. Why do you say that? For many reasons. Some I can't say and some I will. But they have nothing of, and this is why I believe CP is lying, in my opinion here, is because Sumner County said that they don't have anything of him walking away, number one. Number two, they issued an Amber Alert as well. And you don't issue an Amber Alert if you think he walked away and drowned in some water. Okay. So, yes, I do have known about Sumner County and the TBI, like the discrepancy between the two. They can't agree on something, which is why I believe the case hasn't moved forward, in my opinion. But one second, guys, let me play this. So I don't think that they would have issued that Amber Alert thinking that Sebastian walked away and just, fell in a dam 8 miles away when there's nothing to suggest that. But there's a lot more with this, which Nerdy's going to get into. And again, I believe, I don't know why a lot of people don't, like other creators don't talk about this. Maybe because they don't know more about it. Maybe that's why. Yaya, thank you for 20 months. What a legend. Thank you so much, my dear. You are an OJ. Hey, Justin and beautiful girls. Hey, Yaya, thank you so much for your continued support, my dear. Really, really do appreciate you, babies. Okay, moving forward here.
I'll let you guys process that, and I'm going to let you take the mic for a second.
Okay.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Let me move forward.
Actually,
To lower it to a level.
Okay, here we go.
The theme and slipping on a rock, and the theme that they didn't drain that dam. I didn't know that either. Actually, that bothered.
Yes. 8 miles with no shoes, no jacket, a child that, let me see if I got it here. Yeah, I do. 1 second. Let me find it. Let me just show you this real quick. We'll come straight back to this. Promise that I just want to show you as an example. A child that is not the outdoorsy type at all, doesn't like bugs, hates to get dirty, is always very neat and clean. And watch this, Sebastian getting out. This was right before he went missing. Sebastian, they play music here at the restaurant. He doesn't like even the loud things. He's going to cover his ears right here. Watch him. Soon as he gets out, as soon as Sebastian gets out right here, he is covering his ears. He is scared of it's overstimulating to him. Now, if you think a 15-year-old boy that has a chromosome deletion, that has autism, gets overwhelmed, doesn't like dirt, doesn't like the outdoors, if he is overwhelmed by some music playing, bless his heart, if you think he walked out barefooted without shoes in February and walked 8 miles to a dam, I've got ocean front property to sell you in Arizona. Okay? Right there. He is covering his ears right there. And watch him as soon as he gets out. Right there. Closed. Closed. Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. Okay? All right. Moving forward here.
Me too.
I think it was technically impossible to lower it to a level. I don't know if the Army Corps of Engineers maintains that dam. Typically in other states and areas they do. But it sounds like the water levels were too high for them to properly
user
check.
What do you mean, baby? Do we have the data centers in that area in Tennessee? What do you... Oh, do you mean like the ones that they put out? Is that what you mean? Like the data centers that they... I don't know. That's a good question.
That would make sense because we had some really heavy rainfall, if I remember correctly, right before Sebastian went missing in those areas like Black Mountains and, even Rogersville back this way towards Memphis. Like some very, very heavy flooding.
Also, one of the interesting things when driving the area, I was actually on the GoPro and I'm like talking to myself, trying to narrate to you guys, but I didn't put that up here. But that creek was so shallow. I was like, there's no freaking way he drowned in here. But apparently the way Chris described it was when the water was this high, or when it gets high at this creek, it's not...
He didn't drown in that creek. He didn't drown in that creek.
Just inches deep. He said it's deep enough to cover a pickup truck and make it float away. So that was interesting to me. And it sounds like the water was that high when Sebastian went missing. And I just worried, and I said this last night on Spaces, I worry. We worked the Kylie Rodney case, and FBI experts and dive teams went out there, and they missed an entire fucking vehicle. A nonprofit came in and found the vehicle in the very reservoir that they said she was not. I worry that perhaps Sumner County maybe is right, and Sebastian, his own mother, has disclosed that he loved water, he loved swimming. And come back, I don't know.
Cool
but,
water.
I don't know what the answer is, and
All right, let me find it.
and I just worry that given after a couple of days, it wasn't.
The dog hit on that.
Okay, listen.
I guess we can. And didn't the dog hit on that retention pond first? Didn't he supposedly dive straight into that retention pond or whatever it was?
That's not what I was. That's not the way Chris explained it. And again, take it for a grain of salt, but I don't.
Okay, now the retention pond. This is what allegedly Chris told Nerdy.
Know where that information. It's the first time I'm hearing that. I do have people were telling me to check the retention pond, but a retention pond, searching that versus a lake are two different animals, two different beasts.
Definitely.
So, and someone's asking in the chat, am I sure? Yeah, there was a massive search on the ground. I don't know if people realize how massive the search was, and I know how far away the creek was, and I asked myself the same question.
Joey, and good to see you, my dear. Does anyone want to buy a bridge in Brooklyn? Right. Exactly. Remember, CP had a court date coming up, so with the missing child, you can't see records on ongoing investigation. Yeah, they got it locked down.
I am relaying the information that Chris gave. So he said that the canine dogs were actually on top of the dam. Like there's a walkway on the dams, and that's where they stop. So again, he could be misleading me.
So right here, Chris says that the dogs were like on top, literally on top of the cement dam is where they hid. Okay.
I am not the type, if anyone in here knows me, I don't mislead people purposely. I am relaying the information that was given to me. I was wrong on the cell phone. I'll say that. And I deleted the tweet. I think, as I understand it, and Irina can correct me if I'm wrong, but he asked me to remove it, and I did because it sounded like it may have gotten confused. Sebastian had a couple, he had numbers pre-programmed on his phone.
Listen.
When police started searching, there was an unknown number.
Listen.
It was eventually found that it was Seth's grandma, I believe.
No way, fucking Jose. No way.
A bullshit?
Nope. All right. Now, remember, Sebastian's phone was sitting on the counter in the kitchen, right? Again, this is, in my opinion, another way to distort what he's telling Nerdy.
It was eventually found that it was Seth's grandma, I believe. Is that accurate, Irina? I'll wait for Irina to answer, but they ID'd the number as his grandmother.
Just keep listening.
He did mention that the triangulation went to Clarksville, Tennessee. Again, mother. So, mother of whom?
Nope. Chris saying that a triangulation went to Clarksville. Seth's mother does not live in Clarksville, number one.
Mother? Whose mother?
Whose mother?
Actually, I'm going to go back to his text just to make sure I have accuracy. I'll let you take the mic for a second. I'm going to go.
Listen to this.
Okay. I was trying to see where I found that.
Yes, the phone was on lockdown. He couldn't even call out if it wasn't in his phone. That's a good question, Nana's a Dragonfly, and I don't know that. I need to ask about that. That's a good question. Yes, Mohawk says mom lives in Texas. So dumb.
About a dog hitting on water. And I know I've seen that a bazillion times, and I even have it somewhere shuffled away in my notes. But I can't find it right now. And also those video clips I sent you last night, I can't find that either. Just a hot ass.
Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone, We found out the
Now, this is, I'm going to rewind this just a second because I should have said it before he said this. This is Nerdy reading a text message from CP.
Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out the number belonged to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the 3 parents.
Now, again, this is the semantics of CP. Okay. Here we go. Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out the number belonged to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of 3 parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there is no proof Sebastian had one. Now, again, it's his semantics that he is saying here, in my opinion, just like when he talks about the lie detector test in the beginning, when he says the parents have taken a lie detector test, or I'm not going to say who or when or where, I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, burn phone. Oh yeah, the burn phone. Oh yes, Mohawk. The burn phone. Who the fuck has a burn phone when a 15-year-old boy walked out of the house barefooted and no code? Why are we talking about a burn phone? Just listen again. Listen.
The burn cell phone identified in his phone.
Not either.
Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out the number belonged to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the 3 parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to say.
It's very interesting because he says it called one of the 3 parents, and then he says it called Seth's phone. Now, nobody talks like that. Nobody speaks like that. It called one of 3 parents. It called Seth's phone. You would say the burn phone called Seth's phone. You wouldn't even mention the other 2 parents. That's not the way a person naturally speaks when they're telling the truth. It's just not. Deborah. That's exactly right. No. Some of it is BS. Some of it, there is truth. He's, in my opinion, mixing some of the truths, but he's twisting it to fit his narrative. Lying, in my opinion, to fit a better narrative. I'll tell you this part. This is coming from the stepdad himself. Text messages. So, again, why would there went my internet again. When they say that, I might glitch for a minute, guys. When they say that Sebastian just walked out of the house.
Sound like Sebastian had a burner phone, one of the 3 parents. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there is no proof Sebastian had one. That was his response when I tweeted out what I tweeted. You guys need me to read that one more time? Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out that number belongs to his grandmother.
Now, why would Sebastian, hey girl mom, why would Sebastian not have his grandmother's phone number in his phone? And why between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. would all of this be going on? Chris and Katie are on the phone from 10 to almost midnight. And here's a thud. Doesn't think anything of it. Goes to bed. Next morning she wakes up. He's gone. Seth is at work. Been at work since the time Sebastian was at Texas Roadhouse.
Identified in his phone. We found out that number belongs to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there's no proof Sebastian had one.
Okay. I don't know, Queen Letitia. You can call me whatever you want, baby. You can call me whatever you want. If you are so concerned about a guy wearing makeup, get a fucking life. How about that? How about that? Wait a second. If I got any lipstick for it, let's see if we got any lipstick for Queen Letitia. She's got no life to worry about. I'll get you some lip gloss, baby. Just 1 second. I'll find you some. Just a minute, okay? Don't worry what's between my legs. I am comfortable with my little toolbox that God gave me. But if I wasn't, I would fix it. Okay, baby? So you just sit back and relax, honey. Okay, moving on. Dumb fucks. Wait, is it not? What happened to the sound? 1 second.
The piece that ties in that's interesting to me for, I don't know if we lost Lady Justice or
No, I'm here. Sorry.
The part that is interesting, and I don't want to talk too much about behavioral health issues. I'll just say there were some, okay? And one of the behavioral health issues led to
exactly. Since why would we even be calling it a burner phone, right? He's saying, what's interesting here is he's saying that there is, he's saying, I'm not saying Sebastian had a burn phone. Let me go. I got to go back to this. I'm sorry. I've just got to think about this.
We found out the time Sebastian had Seth's phone, told you about, was a phone that number, but Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone.
Okay, Sebastian had a phone that wasn't identified in his phone. Okay, let's think about this. Sebastian had a phone. Sometimes I give them what they want. I usually don't, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. You're right. Why does that guy wear makeup? Oh my God. What's the world coming to? These homosexuals wearing makeup now. Anyway. Why Sebastian's phone is on the counter, right? His phone's on the counter. Thank you, Diana. But why is... Okay, I got to hear this because I'm getting somewhere.
We found out the number belonged to his grandmother.
Okay.
The burned cell phone that I told you about.
Okay. So Sebastian's phone is on the counter in the kitchen. But his grandma allegedly, I guess, calls this phone with this phone number. She lives in Texas, by the way, that she's not in the phone. Okay. And then he goes to something. Well, yeah, why wouldn't it be saved? Exactly. But then he goes to the burner phone. I bet they took Sebastian's phone day one, went through the calls, found the number that wasn't saved as contacts, traced it. Then he goes to the burner phone. The burner phone, which means that is a separate phone. Hey, Pickle. Good to see you, baby. That's a separate phone. The burner phone. Hey, Smiley. So we got Sebastian's phone, a burner phone, but Chris is not saying that's Sebastian's.
Was a phone that called one of the three parents.
Hold on.
Burned cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents.
Okay. So Chris is saying we got Sebastian's phone. We've got a phone with Sebastian's grandmother that called Sebastian's phone. Okay. We've got the burner phone that called one of three parents. Okay. Also, hey, Ash. Well, we got to keep listening because he's going to get to another point about where this phone pinged, and we'll talk about that because I know a little bit more on that as well. Oh, thank you, Deborah. I can't change, baby. I have done me. What you see, since middle school. I ain't changed for nobody.
It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there is no proof Sebastian had one. That was his response when I tweeted out what I tweeted. You guys need me to read that one more time? Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out that number belongs to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there's no proof Sebastian had one.
Okay, it's a little quiet right there.
I don't know if, the piece that ties in, that's interesting to me for, I don't know if we lost Lady Justice or
No, I'm here.
The part that is interesting, and I don't want to talk too much about behavioral health issues. I'll just say there were some, okay? And one of the behavioral health issues led to Chris Proudfoot having to go to Sebastian's school. I think Chris said...
Okay. Yeah, very good question, girl mom. Because I'll tell you why. I think Chris, well, I mean, I'll tell you how I think he learned about it, but I think there's more involvement in my opinion. But I do believe, thank you, Michelle, that they asked him about this burner phone. just like they asked about the ping and the truck. That was the feet trying to get their story straight, probably a VoIP number from KB. Well, Tabitha, I've followed Sebastian's case. Actually, probably the first 4 people online on YouTube that covered Sebastian's case was Trevor, Josh, Smiley, and myself. And I showed that there was 2 VoIP numbers that they had. I got, if you go back to my Sebastian, way back to my Sebastian live streams, you'll see where my private detective that I work with showed 4 numbers. I've showed you guys the VoIP numbers, the date that they were opened, all of that as well. But again, why is any of this happening the night Sebastian went missing?
The last time he saw Sebastian was on the 2nd, and I believe issues led to Chris Proudfoot having to go to Sebastian's school. I think
so. There, all 4 parents was at the school. I was the one that broke this information that Sebastian had. Did I say all 4 parents? I mean all 3 parents to the school. There was a meeting. Seth was there, Chris was there, Katie was there at the school.
Chris said the last time he saw Sebastian was on the 2nd, and I believe
it was the last time he saw Sebastian was on the 2nd. I disagree with that, I'll say. Nana, thank you, baby. Love you to pieces. Thank you so much, Nana. Appreciate you, Mamacita. Thank you so much, Nana. Love you to pieces. Really appreciate that. If you received one of those, make sure you give our Nanas a big, big thank you. I really appreciate it. They were blaming everything on Seth. It was bad. Well, you guys know that I was live. And I will say there are people at the school that watch me. I'll just say staff members. I'm not going to say who it was. I've still never said, and I'm not going to say who it is. But they was the one that told me about this meeting. Thank you, Nana. And it was bad because they were allegedly loud and obnoxious.
I believe, if I'm correct, it was at Beach High School. Sebastian had a behavioral health issue with a teacher, acting in a way that wasn't appropriate.
Now, again, I believe there is some truth in some of these things that he's saying, and I believe there are lies. Just my opinion. I'm one of 8 billion. You believe what you want to believe. That's fine by me. But did Sebastian have behavioral problems? Yes, he did. And God bless him. He doesn't understand the way that you and I understand things. He doesn't see things the way that you and I see things. And he's got a chromosome deletion. He's got autism. He's got trauma. Moving, all the things. Now, right here.
Had a behavioral health issue with a teacher, acting in a way that wasn't appropriate with the teacher.
I don't believe that. I think there was some inappropriate things that Sebastian might have been doing. But again, that does not make him bad. at all. Again, he doesn't experience things the way you and I, the cultural norms, he doesn't understand. And, you know, he's got to be taught that and all that. It doesn't make him bad at all. He was not easy. He was not an easy child, right? Because of the things that he dealt with. Oh, thank you, Styro. Clutch has become my favorite true crime show. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, baby. Appreciate you, Styro. Thank you for that. Thank you for that compliment. Really appreciate that, my love. I heard in the bathroom, not with teacher. There was a few accounts. What are you doing? Hey, Queen Bee coming in clutch. Good to see you, baby. I think we can all agree this is sad, and we all want Sebastian found. 1,000%, Queen. 1,000%, baby. 1,000%. Yes. Yes. Is Seth in here? Where's Seth? Hey, Seth. Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you. And for me, this is what matters the most, is the night it happened. It's not even about what happened before, you know, he went missing. It's about the night.
And he
Just
got
my
called
opinion.
down to the office for a sort of parent-teacher conference, if you will. This is the interesting part. So Sebastian, because of his autism, when he traveled throughout the high school, there were only designated people that were allowed to travel with him. Meaning when he went to a class or to the library, there were only a couple individuals that were authorized to transport him from one area of the school to another. Does that make sense to you?
Justin, what if CPKP didn't know about the burn phone? LE takes Sebastian's regular phone day one, traced the unsaved number to the burner phone, got the warrant, did the search on court day, and found it. Why do I not see Seth? Hold on, where is he? There he is. Okay. Sebastian was dealing with trauma from a tragic happen. Yes, that should have never happened, and he wasn't getting the proper therapy for him to heal. Absolutely, Seth. He was starting to get therapy though, he was starting to get therapy. I don't think Sebastian had a burner phone. A lot of people do though. A lot of people do. I just don't think Sebastian, I'm gonna cry. I don't know why this bothers me so much. Whenever you look at the CPS documents, Sebastian went to the CPS lady and he said that he was upset because he was lying to Chris and Katie about brushing his teeth. And to me, that just shows like he's such a pure little guy. He's such a pure little guy that he just had no intention. You know, all kids are special, right? But then there are kids that have special needs and they don't understand, absorb, you know, necessarily everything. They don't. And that just like when I read that, I just thought he's 15 years old male. His body is a 15-year-old male. But his mind isn't. Right? His mind isn't. And that makes me just absolutely heartbreak, just how pure. Like, oh my God, I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble for not telling him I brush my teeth. You know what I mean? Yeah, Kiki. Yeah.
Apparently, on the day that this happened, Chris sat down in the conference room and Sebastian was walking with a girl, an older girl who wasn't authorized to walk him through the hallways of the school.
I can't.
Turns out that girl was dating one of the teenagers that lived at Bobby's house. I hope I have that right because I don't know who the fuck Bobby is besides hearing his name and knowing that it is teenage sons. But one of the teenage sons was apparently dating the girl that was walking Sebastian. It stood out as significant to Chris because she shouldn't have been.
We were asking that the other day.
There were only designated, I don't know if they're teachers, probably teachers or adults. Only adults were allowed to transport him and or walk him, guide him, whatever you want to call it. And he noted that this girl, he said, actually, when I saw Sebastian walking with her, Sebastian was giddy. He was laughing, talking to her. Obviously, when Sebastian saw Chris sitting down in the parent-teacher conference room, his whole demeanor changed. He knew that he was in trouble. They addressed.
Yes. Now that, again, Sebastian didn't have any friends, right? Even Chris and Katie, they said that Sebastian just wanted friends. Everybody needs a tribe. Everybody needs someone on their team. Everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to be loved. It is the human condition, period. But I think Chris was the party pooper. I do. I think he was the party pooper out of it all. I don't think even Katie was the party pooper as much. I think it was Chris.
Address the behavior issues. That was the last time Chris saw him. Fast forward to the night of the 25th, morning of the 26th, and Sebastian has vanished. Now, it's also noted, it's weird because people are saying this correctly. I was told that Sebastian just couldn't make friends, but then I'm also told by Chris that he was playing flashlight tag with the neighbors. I don't know if,
That is the bunch of bullshit. Listen, that is the most bullshit ever, that Sebastian was playing flashlight tag. There was no playing flashlight tag with Sebastian at all. Period. End of conversation. Zilch, nada, didn't happen, never happened at all. That is complete and utter bullshit. It's just complete and utter bullshit. The flashlight tag never happened. Sebastian never played with any kids in that neighborhood. None.
For a kid or a teenager, playing with other.
So my question is, why is Chris saying this happened? He knows that did not happen. Chris said he wanted friends. Well, if he had friends in the neighborhood playing flashlight tag, he would have had friends. It didn't happen. And most kids in that neighborhood, there's not a lot of kids in that neighborhood to begin with.
Teenagers makes them or classifies them as a friend. But again, I'm just relaying the information that was given. And the fact that the dogs then went to that playscape, if they were playing flashlight tag and then the dogs go over there, that's interesting, right? And what's also interesting is that I guess a couple times Katie or Chris found Sebastian hiding under the neighbor's vehicle. So in that driveway, I guess he wasn't supposed to do that, or
that absolutely never happened either. Why say this? This never happened. The neighbor thought it was another kid that was playing. The neighbor thought it was Sebastian. And then they realized, oh, well, I didn't even know that kid, was there. They thought they got the kids mixed up. Didn't happen. I'll stand on a stack of Bibles, stand on God Almighty. It did not happen. It did not happen. That didn't. But again, I believe Nerdy. I absolutely believe him with what he was told through being in the same truck with Chris and conversations with text. What was that? Just because they're trying to go. I agree, Lauren. I think it's a distraction. But again, guys, if the question I always have in these cases, you don't want to point your finger to anybody. But damn, why are you telling things that did not happen, right? It was. Now, again, the neighbor originally came out and said, yeah, that was Sebastian. They got the kids confused because Sebastian never played outside. I don't even think Sebastian would get on the ground to get dirty. If Seth is in here, he can tell you more.
But it was noted that he hid under that car. So
nope.
The two, my thought, again, this is pure speculation.
I don't even know. I'm trying to think. I don't think he could even fit under a car at 15 years old. Maybe a jacked up truck or something, but to get under a car would be a very hard thing. Like maybe a big old truck or something, but a car, you're not going to get under.
Sometimes teenagers can be brutal. I immediately thought was one of these teenagers jealous of Sebastian? Was he, perhaps talking to this girl, this older girl that was guiding him down the hall when she wasn't supposed to? And in between the 2nd and 25th, more stuff happened while Chris was gone. I don't know, but putting the information out there, I feel is important. So I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to go to chat because I have not looked at it since running out to the car and switching out the Mac for the PC.
Oh, I don't got my phone on, guys. 1 second.
So Nikki Jax is not Bobby's kids. Let's get clarity here on whose kids. Bobby's name kept coming up, but I was assuming they were Bobby's kids. Do you know who they are, Brianna? Whose kids, whose teenagers that he played flashlight tag with?
Bobby's kids are not really.
I think she disappeared from the Zoom.
Adults, pretty much.
Bobby's boys are homeschooled. They were home all day. I don't know that matters.
Her kids are much older. I know Bobby.
If
Bobby has
100%, the lights.
It's just crazy to me that anyone. I'm sorry. I don't know why people blame Bobby. Bobby is like the last person that would ever do something.
I don't care what others say. Chris said that the first pair of lights were from a neighbor that were bringing the trash down.
Yeah, he did say that too, about the lights. Again, Chris said that the light video that Nick Barris originally put out, that was the trash being taken out. It was said that it was the mail or something like that. Again, TBI and Sumner County don't agree on everything. I'll just say, in my opinion, they don't agree on some of the lights. And that's all I'll say on that. In fact, I think that's privately. Now, publicly, they will say nothing. They'll say the lights is nothing publicly. Now they'll say, no, it's nothing. It's nothing. So believe what you want on that.
Someone here is saying that they didn't play flashlight tag. I don't know how you know that, but again, I'm just relaying what Chris said. So
that person's right. They didn't
Bobby
play
said her kids
flashlight
played
tag.
flashlight tag. Said her kids play flashlight tag. And Chris is saying that Sebastian played with them as well. Never played flashlight tag with the kids per the parents. So again, Lisa, that is not the information that was given to me. So I will wait for Brianna to pop back on. I'm going to continue reading chats. People seem to think that some of this information was out there 10 months ago. Great. I assume some of it was. I've heard a lot of talk or chatter about the dogs too. I think the most relevant information that we didn't know, maybe you guys did. I haven't seen it publicly out there. And if it was public, the media would have reported it. So the search warrant was the most relevant piece of information for me.
We're going to get into
How
more.
did law enforcement know there are 3 cameras in the home after? Because they executed a search warrant, Marley. 1 year after Sebastian went missing, they executed a search warrant at the home. And we don't know what the judge authorized them to take, but we know that Chris said that 3 cameras were taken, 3 cameras that were added after Sebastian went missing.
3 cameras after Sebastian went missing. Now, they did get an upgrade camera and security system, that was installed shortly after Sebastian went missing, because I'll just say, in my opinion, Chris is controlling and he's got to have those cameras.
So I don't know about Bobby's kids. I don't know about which teenagers, but again, I said it clearly. It seemed conflicting, right? You said Sebastian couldn't make friends, didn't have friends. And I remember talking about it because I said, hey, Eva's kid is autistic. And I asked him if he's made any friends at school. And he said, no, sort of similar behavioral health issues. So I remember him saying it, but I also remember saying that Sebastian liked to play flashlight tag. I'm assuming Sebastian wasn't playing flashlight tag by himself, right? So I'm assuming that he played with the kids in the neighborhood.
No. It didn't take a year for they got him pretty soon after, didn't they? I think they were there pretty soon after installing. Was it a year?
Good.
It could have been a year.
I don't know what happened to Brianna.
I'm here. So sorry.
Do you know if he played flashlight tag? Who the
I
teenage
don't know
boys
if he
were?
did. I've heard about the flashlight tag. I have heard it is this Bobby, the neighbor. I've heard it was her son and friends that played the flashlight tag. I've not heard if Sebastian actually did or did not
Okay, 1 second. here.
confirmingly played. I've not heard one way or the other. So I would hate to say. I don't know. It blew my mind. I know I had to drop down. I was hearing everything that was being said.
I got
Her
fast.
shit again.
Give me a second.
If
Probably not.
so, I would assume that's part of a game, right? If I'm hiding, no.
Down on the ground. No, does that make sense?
Got to get to
does,
another
yeah.
part.
That his shoes are on his feet.
It's very
you know,
important.
everything with a grain of salt. The mountain. There is no reason it seemed to lie. I think out of everyone involved in this, Gio, I tend to believe that
Okay,
there's
listen.
any factual information about that.
No.
I tend to know alibi. Chris Proudfoot's alibi would be the tightest people I've seen chime in.
Yeah.
I tend to believe that. Say something interesting about.
Listen.
He explained why he called the sheriff. There was some, I guess, social media buzz about why he called who. Why he called the local sheriff, I think, versus Sumner County or vice versa. I don't know, but he said that he just knew the jurisdiction. He had lived here long enough. He knew whose jurisdiction it was. He knew who would be taking it when they called, and that's why.
Yeah, so many of these cases that we cover, unfortunately, there's always something with the 911 call, right? Either they call the non-emergency number, or they call it on their what's it called, the service is bad, or they call it on their apps or whatever. It's just
Why he
nuts.
called the sheriff. He did say Katie left the house to go look for Sebastian. So in the
We're gonna
drone
get to a very
footage where you
important
see me
point up here.
launching my drone, I guess she went over to that church. There's a cemetery there. Then headed back. The conversation that he said he had was, Katie called him freaking out. Sebastian wasn't there. Chris over the phone verbally said, well, he's under the bed. Is he here? Is he in the garage? Go check here. He gave, and he wasn't he wasn't there. He wasn't in any of those places. They had a 3-way call with the sheriff. I don't know if it was while Katie was in transit, if she was already moving towards this parking lot or this church. And that church and cemetery is in between Beach High School. So it's in between where they live in Beach High School. The interesting part is that he said that because the way that he chose the sheriff over the other police department is that he said by the time Katie did get home, the sheriff was already in the driveway. So
yeah, he said, Katie, go back. The sheriff or the police are on their way, which I think I was one of the first ones to catch that. If the police were back on their way and you're on a 3-way call, you don't need to tell her that the police are on their way. You guys are on the phone with police. You're hearing the same conversation.
that was sort of his, I told you, I know the jurisdiction better than anyone. And that's why I called the sheriff. They respond faster. This is their jurisdiction.
Well, there was 2 calls that morning, though. There wasn't just 1 call. There was 2 calls, right? CP?
So,
his ego is as big as his mouth is. So
I saw that too. I saw that with the sort of, and I said it yesterday when I said I'm disclosing this information. Like I said, I confirmed, I knew he was seeing my tweets because he's texted me on previous nights and clarified or given clarification. He knew that I was waiting. And then as soon as I said I was disclosing, he called my cell phone 60 seconds later. So he was already blocked by that time. But he may have an ego. I don't know if it matters in this case. What matters is bringing Sebastian home.
Absolutely.
I don't know if any of this information helps. I think this is like, and I said this last night on Spaces, it's baffling. The reason so what you're seeing on the screen, this is aerial footage of behind the fire station where the command post was. To give folks an area of the wooded area, obviously it's pretty dense, but it seems like there's some sources of water down there with that fog there. Typically water on the ground will do that, but without going into the woods, I don't know. I believe others have spent an enormous amount of time digging through these areas and looking for Sebastian, including...
There was no flashlight tag that night or anytime. Sebastian never played flashlight tag, just ever.
Stephen Crabtree and more. Given how much resources were deployed to look for him initially, people pointed out how much miles is in between and the home, this creek and the dam.
Listen,
there's 7 miles in between. It's a
7 miles.
It's a long distance, but apparently police felt the need to follow that trail all the way and did a massive search, not just in the woods and caves, bodies of water. It seems like they did the right thing, but again, I will point out we've seen other cases where the car was right there in the reservoir. The FBI dive team specialized in doing what they do, dived and came back up and said, no, nothing here. And
we've also seen where when they turn 18, they come home. So
I think that's it. I asked him, like, in his heart, like, what do you believe? Like, what do you believe in your heart happened to him? And I think that's the number one answer, right? Is that he's probably being harbored somewhere, that perhaps someone in the family.
Who's going to harbor Sebastian?
Maybe is keeping him safe somewhere else. I don't know. Go ahead.
Seth was going to get him as soon as the school year was up. If he would have been notified with the CPS, he would have obviously taken him a lot sooner if he knew it was in that dire of, they were tired or whatever, they just couldn't take it anymore. He would have taken him a lot sooner. That's what the lawsuit is about. If Seth or one of his family members was harboring Sebastian, I don't think they would be out here begging for him back. They're not the ones
that's
staying
been one of
quiet.
my of course, from the beginning, because I wholeheartedly have always thought Sebastian's coming home is why I try so hard to keep negative off my. What good does it do? It doesn't.
Let me find this part now.
I asked him some stupid questions because while I was there for a few days, like you see these huge lawns, right? And as you drive around, I was hearing gunshots, and a couple of streets down there was gunshots, and I asked him, is it possible like he walked away and walked in someone's yard? And,
nope.
You know, perhaps his behavior.
I want to say that I've been to this neighborhood before. You can go back on my videos and my live streams, and you'll see me there in the neighborhood that wasn't a neighborhood when Sebastian went missing. That's now a development right beside of them. And this area films bigger than it actually is. It's actually, the yards are smaller than they film. I can't stress that enough.
Behavioral health, or his behavioral issues arose and someone shot him. I have no idea. I'm hoping for the best, and my mind is still sort of spinning over what happened. The fact that people bring up Park,
let me find the
that's
part.
about the same distance. Damn,
Okay,
7 miles away. Yeah, so is Drake's Creek Park. That's about the same distance, and police did a massive search there. The idea was that perhaps he walked over to that area and then went into the water over there. They covered a huge amount of distance in between the house and other areas where they searched. That's just what it is.
Right. And if he walked away, depending on what was driving him, I mean, adrenaline can drive you, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
That morning I plead the fifth.
All ends. I mean, I don't really know. You've given me a lot more to think about for sure or not. Like, because that's a couple of things I didn't know that really are important.
They text him, which Seth, in a jail, you can't have any phones. You have to put it in your locker. So you can't have your phone when you're at work there watching the inmates. They text him and said 911 or something like that, call me or something like that. And then Seth was ending his shift and went and got his stuff and saw the message and called. I think an argument happened between Katie and Sebastian, and she freaked out, and she covered it. And that's what the 3 hour, in my opinion. Yeah. 911 call me text. Yes, that's what it was. I think something happened that night. I do. That's how I feel based upon what I've seen, what I've heard, what I know. You may have a completely different opinion, but that's what
they are important. I don't know how, like we've all thought about it. Don't know how, but it feels like it is important. The details. I think the search warrant for me, like, why, right? Because if they in fact did hand over every piece of, basically the way Chris presented it was they all handed over their phones willingly, all three, right? Katie, Chris, and Seth. He said that his phone took the least amount of time, meaning Chris's, to image. So if people don't know what occurs during this process, police will tie a device into the phone and take a backup of it, right? They don't have to take the physical phone. I think Chris said something like 7 hours. I could be wrong, 8 hours. Katie's took like 10, maybe. It was in the middle, and then Seth's phone took the longest. Now, that could be for various reasons. It could be because Seth had a different type of phone, right? iPhone versus Android. It could mean that Seth just had that much more data on his phone. And that the imaging process took longer. Yeah. So I don't know if it's necessarily meaningful. But yeah, they willingly handed over everything, even car chips. And, he described the moment when the FBI team.
Yeah. I mean, if they were looking there, I think they probably had a reason, Just my opinion, though. He complained to Nina. Oh, trust me. There's so much with some of that stuff. I just cannot. I wish I could. There's things that
identified with their Wi-Fi sniffer that there was something broadcasting nearby on the network, and it turns out there's a device in his truck or RV that was broadcasting and putting out a Wi-Fi signal.
Now, I wonder why Nerdy said truck or RV there that was putting out a Wi-Fi signal. Again, I do believe that there was Of course, they put out a sniffer to scan everything. Again, I believe there's half truths to this, in just my opinion. And the reason I believe that is, which Chris has openly talked about, the TBI and them asked him why his truck was pinged. And he says, that's after I got back to the house. Now, again, Chris claims he was at work that morning and he drove back home a little while after learning Sebastian went missing. They are not going to sniff anything past when Sebastian went missing, right? There's nothing. If Sebastian left, let's just say he left at 6 a.m. right before, Katie got up. That's the time. Well, that's the time she noticed him missing, right? There's no reason to sniff at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, some 7 hours after Sebastian's been missing. It just doesn't happen. That you can ask any law enforcement out there, they're going to say, why would we be sniffing after 7 hours after the person has gone missing? It just doesn't happen. Ask any law enforcement. Ask Chris McDunn. Ask anybody. I've talked to a lot of law enforcement about this case. Doesn't happen. And so I think he's trying to make it sound like that. Well, that's after I got back. Well, no, it's going to tell you exactly what time it pinged. They're going to know. Don't talk about my truck.
It sounds like they really put the effort in to willingly give police what they wanted. But that raises the question. That raises the question of why did police then feel the need to obtain a search warrant from a judge, right? And then to execute it, and then to take devices
exactly
that were not even present or in that home when Sebastian vanished. Those 3 cameras were added after.
Right. So Nerdy makes a very good point there, right? So Chris claims he's staying technically in a different state whenever Sebastian goes missing. Katie says midnight she goes to bed, right? All of this. And then a year later, they're going back into that house with a search warrant to look at 3 cameras, a laptop, a phone, and other devices, I'm sure, I would allege, that supposedly wasn't even in this home at the time Sebastian went missing. Okay. Gotcha.
That part blew my mind.
And that's not just easy to do. Like, not just a judge is not just going to sign off on a warrant like that for no reason. Like, he's going to have a good probable cause, especially the statute that they have. And don't come at me. They've been in the military because they do have a statute. It's like, they're well respected.
Rach just said it.
It just is what it is.
It's certainly interesting. And with the same at the same time, like in my mind, like people can use that as they wish, right? That's interesting. But it's been a long time since February 2025, right? He said it was about a year after, and we still don't have any arrests. Here we are in October, right?
What was the day Betty and all them went to court? Does anyone know? Yes, the landfill search cost a lot of money, and they kept talking about the search in the construction site area or the new neighborhood. Yeah.
Right. So the fact that they execute it could make us say, well, police and the judge think that something's going on here, but then everything was taken that was taken, and there's still no arrests or no person of interest, right? So it really depends on your lens, how you're receiving this information.
And I mean, I'm going to be honest, I've shifted mine just a little. Like, how could you not?
Yeah, well, I mean, especially if you're in true crime, to your point, right? Exactly to your point. Everyone knows that it's difficult to go into someone's home and
very difficult. It's even, I can't just tell you how more difficult it is to go in a year later. The year later is big, because they're going to have a lot of scrutiny on that. Well, why didn't you get this or this or this whenever you were in there? Which, in my opinion, tells me that they either didn't have something that was left behind, or something took place in that last year, in my opinion, on one of those devices or all of those devices that they're looking at, that would be pertinent, very pertinent, directly pertinent to Sebastian's missing person case. Now you got to remember, Sebastian hasn't been there in a year. Let me just paint this picture for a second. Sebastian hasn't been in that house a year at the time of that search warrant. Okay. He supposedly walked out on his own accord, without shoes, without a coat, in February. There's only 2 other people that live in that house full time. Right? What are we missing? What are we missing here? Oh, thank you, Spirit Seeker. Thank you, baby. Allison, thank you for the gift, baby. Appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, honey. 10-10-24. It was later than that, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah. I've got that, Mandy. I just wasn't looking at you. Thank you very much, honey. That's a good. Let me see here 1 second. I don't know if it's on there. 1 second. Investigation and polygraph. Sebastian only had a handful of saved contacts in his phone. After he disappeared, investigators reviewed call records and allegedly discovered an outgoing call to an unsaved phone. All phones were forensically imaged. Katie and Chris took a polygraph with TBI. Seth Rogers has not taken a TBI administered polygraph. He did one on Nancy Grace with the FBI guy. Search warrants were served on all properties. Okay. Look at this. Let me show you this, guys. Let's see if I can show you this. Pull this up. It's gotta load it. Give me 1 second here. Okay. After he disappeared, investigators reviewed call records and allegedly discovered an outgoing call to an unsaved phone. Thank you, Allison. My question is, he couldn't call on unsaved phone numbers. He couldn't call anyone that wasn't in his contacts. How could that happen? No search warrant was served at Seth's home. Not a year late. No, nothing like that. This is according to crime timelines. And then Chris is talking about this. Remember, you got to remember, Emmy, Chris is talking about this with Nerdy about this phone number that he was, that is grandma's phone or whatever as well. You got to remember that. Oh, thank you, Luck. Thank you, baby. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for your support. I really do appreciate you, loves. Good to see you. Thank you very much for your support, honey. And Kiki, thank you so much. So only parents could unlock the phone to call out Justin, in my opinion. Well, this is the other thing, right? This is the other thing. Look at this. If Sebastian's phone was in the kitchen, I mean, you get what I mean? It wasn't in his room. When would he have called? I mean, he would have had to have went to the freaking kitchen to make this call, right? And there's cameras inside the home. You know it as well as I know it. Even though they said they were going to answer that question. No, they didn't say. That's a good point. They didn't say when it was, but it would have to be pertinent, in my opinion, that it was within the time frame right before he went missing. Right? Nope. I don't. Not for a second. I believe dream means something. It might. They do give phones to abused women. They just went through the call logs and going to. But here's the thing: he couldn't. He wasn't able to. According to the family, he wasn't able to go. He wasn't able to call anyone that wasn't inside his contacts. So how do you call someone that's not inside your contacts? Chris, Katie, Seth.
To take devices means that something was spelled out in that probable cause that made a judge sign off on it and allowed them to do it. So again, you could say, okay, well, a lot of time has passed and there's no arrest, but a lot of time passed in between the time Sebastian went.
Well, I mean, it could be a mistake, but here's the thing. Chris just told Nerdy Addict right there that there's this call that night that it wasn't inside. Hold on 1 second. 58:59. Can someone remember 59 minutes in a second for me? Remember 59 minutes so I can go back. Listen to this. Wait a second.
The dog thing is interesting. I'm going to stop on the aerial.
1 second here. Listen, this is what I mean. Let me find it. Okay.
Sebastian had a couple.
Listen.
Yeah, I think, as I understand it, Irina can correct me if I'm wrong, but he asked me to remove it, and I did because it was his phone. And when police and started searching,
Listen.
Sebastian had a couple numbers pre-programmed on his phone, and when police and started searching, there was an unknown number.
Listen.
It was eventually found that it was Seth's grandma, I believe. Is that accurate, Irina? I'll wait for Irina to answer, but they ID'd the number as his grandmother. He did mention that the triangulation went to Clarksville, Tennessee. Again, mother. So, mother of whom?
Okay. Keep listening.
Mother. Whose mother? Actually, I'm going to go back to his text just to make sure I have accuracy. I'll let you take the mic for a second. I'm going to go
About a dog, have it somewhere shuffled away me last night. I can't.
on.
Okay,
We found
listen.
Sebastian.
Hot ass.
Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out the number belonged to his grandmother. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents. It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to.
You know what I think happened? You know what I think happened? I think there was a burner phone. I'll tell you what I think happened. I think there was a burner phone that someone had the night that Sebastian went missing. I think it was someone, in my opinion, in the family. And I think that they called Sebastian's phone. Because, in my opinion, so Katie's phone would not be used on a certain thing, that it wouldn't look like she was up, that she was asleep, and they do this to implicate Seth. After he disappeared, investigators reviewed call logs and allegedly discovered an outgoing call to an unsafe phone. My life. Boom, Justin. What do you mean? Oh, they did say outgoing call. Hold on, let me think of this.
It sound like the phone that called one of the three parents. The burn cell phone that I told you about was a phone that called one of the three parents.
No. The burn phone called one of the three parents. I don't like the way he says one of three parents. You just don't say that. You would say the burn phone called Chris's phone. The burn phone called Katie's phone. The burn phone called Seth's phone. You wouldn't say one of three parents and then you say it called Seth.
It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner phone either, because there is no proof Sebastian had one. That was his response when I tweeted out what I tweeted. You guys need me to read that one more time? Sebastian's phone had a number that wasn't identified in his phone. We found out that number belongs to his grandmother.
I think you're...
It called Seth's phone. It doesn't need to sound like Sebastian had a burner.
Let me text 1 second. One second, guys. One second. Okay. So Betty and them went to court September, October, somewhere around 2024. Andrew Griffin also was born. Betty was arrested on Saturday. She was arrested August 24th. July 26th, Katie filed for a petition. August 22nd, the initial orders were granted to the court hearing. Okay. One second. Okay. Okay, moving on.
Burner phone either, because there's no proof Sebastian had one.
They said the burner phone was
The
registered
piece
to
that ties
Seth's
in
mom.
that's interesting to me for, I don't know if we lost Lady Justice or Brianna.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
The
No,
part that
called
is
Seth's
interesting, and I don't want to talk too much about behavioral health.
I think that was an old phone of Seth's that had prepaid minutes on it for emergencies. No, I just messaged Seth. That's what I was doing. No, I don't think there was any of that. He's like, Chris said it triangulated. Okay, I'm going to try to get to this. It was 59 minutes, right? Okay, I want to look at... What time was it? 55. Polygraph experience. Personal reflection and credibility. Okay.
After our 2-hour conversation, 2-hour plus, he sort of alluded to, well, I'm sorry Katie couldn't be here. She was available, it sounded like, but she didn't wish to speak. I find that interesting. I'm, again, not implying there's any guilt on Katie's part whatsoever. It sounds like she passed the polygraph. It sounds like the only issue on the polygraph was Chris himself, where he told the person running it, hey, he had to clarify, I think is what he said. Like, he wanted to understand if the guy meant if he had lied to authorities presently or any time in his life. And I can relate to that, right? We're all kids, we're all teenagers, and I'm sure I've lied to cops throughout my teenage years and even my young adulthood. So
Of course.
I think, given the stress of a polygraph, he wanted clarification. Doesn't mean that he lied, doesn't mean that there was an issue with it. It means that he raised the issue himself and needed clarification, and they re-asked the question. So it sounds like they all passed. Do we know why Seth refuses to take an official polygraph with TBI?
He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't.
No official reason.
I think Nerdy didn't know that. Seth has never, ever, 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 you stand in line, you want him to do 100 polygraphs a day, he would do it. Yeah, Millie, thank you. You sent it on Facebook Messenger. Can you email it to me? I can't get on my... Oh, when I finish my live. Okay, gotcha. When I finish it. Okay. I was going to say, I don't think I can pull that up right now. But he doesn't. Okay, I think it's right up here. There's one more thing I wanted him to...
Polygraph team, whereas... Yeah.
This is the first time I've talked on this case.
Some of this had Wi-Fi. They took that to analyze it.
Okay, listen to this.
They took the GPS and OnStar. His RV had Wi-Fi. They took that to analyze as well. I'm trying to read my notes here to make sure I haven't missed anything. Chris,
Though, you bringing up that new information, for a long time, I thought, LA's always going to hold, stuff close to the vest. But I've always thought, is it that they have A, B, and C, and they just can't connect it to X, Y, Z? Like, do they know? You know what I mean? Like, and they just can't put that little...
Okay, I want to make something clear real here. I just got your message, Millie. I want to make something clear here. There was someone else in a chat or something I just got a message to. I want to make it very clear that I have never, ever, zilch ever seen the CPS records to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Neither has Smiley's story. Anybody that says that is lying, flat out lying. They're being, they're either talking out of their ass or they'll just willingly give information. But I'm not surprised coming from that specific channel in a chat right now saying that we've seen it. Seth has never, ever shared the CPS documents with me, with any of us. Now, I may know potentially some things that was in them, but he never told me. I'll just tell you that right there. Never showed me, never told me. And as close to Smiley is with Seth as well, never, ever happened. He has never shared it. That is something that is so extraordinarily personal. So please correct yourself when you said that about. Again, I want to be clear. I have not seen that. That is what someone sent to me, that they said someone was in a chat that someone falls asleep all the time. No big deal. But they said that I'm and Smiley saw CPS records. Never happened. So anyway, just wanted to deal with that. Yeah, Kelsey. Yeah.
I don't know. And
Did you see what I mean, though?
yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I just
And that year in makes me wonder even more now. Like, my brain's going 900 miles an hour.
Okay, these are the GPS thingies.
My notes initially. So when I immediately got out of talking to him, I wanted to do a brain dump for our folks in Discord. So I'm just reading some of this stuff. He said the light is 300% a flashlight from his neighbor that took trash down to the road.
Here you go. Listen to this right here.
Talking to him, I wanted to do a brain dump for our folks in Discord. So I'm just reading some of this stuff. He said the light is 300% a flashlight from his neighbor that took trash down to the road.
There you go. Chris said that the light that was outside there is 300% someone taking trash out to the road.
The same boys where Sent used to play flashlight tag with him. Once Sebastian was found hiding under the car, Scent dog first picked up the scent at the creek, and cadaver dogs fall to the old Hickory Dam. I feel like that connection to the girl and the teenage boys, if the canines went there originally across the street, and we'll get on the next stream, we'll get details, right? If there are 3 Muslim women there, we will be able to pull the property records and see maybe who was living there to get more clarity, right? Exactly, but this is what he said. He said the dogs picked up the scent, they went across the street, they first went into the playscape. Now, that could be just for the simple fact that he played, like that would confirm that he played with the neighbor's boys, right? At the very least. So I think that was interesting. And then my mind goes to, well, we don't know where Sebastian is, and that was walking down the hallway to be able to.
No.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, Brian Laundrie.
I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. Exactly. Like, nothing surprises me anymore.
59. Hold on.
She just got
5920
booted. I'm going to send her a new.
1 second.
Fell in a rock. And I guess a difference in opinion from Sumner County. Sumner County said, look, we think Sebastian may have slipped, fell in a rock, and went into the creek. And he said that TBI doesn't think that's the case. So even between, if there's contention between law enforcement, imagine what happens in the public realm.
Exactly.
Like right here in the chat. So,
and that's a really good point. That's a very good point Nerdy makes right there. Hey, Nick, good to see you, babe. If there is contention between TBI and law enforcement, which there is on this case, imagine the public. Imagine the public.
So, again, all opinions are welcome here. Please state them respectfully. We do the same to y'all. Pate saying no body. But again, if divisiveness, I'm going to start this 40-minute YouTube from It Is What It Is. Right? There's two different agencies. Well, so Choo Choo's mommy, Chris Proudfoot, the way he conveyed it was that there's two different agencies. Well, multiple agencies. The FBI is here too. So, but Sumner County, he said, believes that Sebastian had an accident. Right? They believe.
Sumner County, in my opinion, knows that they fucked up in the beginning, and they just don't want to admit it. But I don't believe that Sumner County even believes that Sebastian slipped on a rock. I do believe that there's certain things that they can't agree on.
That Sebastian maybe walked away, slipped on a rock, hit his head, and drowned. He says TBI doesn't think that's the case, and that their opinion differs, although it didn't really go into what that would be, what TBI.
And I'll just say that I have certain reasons why I believe Sumner County does not believe that, even though allegedly CP is saying this to Nerdy. He knows better. Not Nerdy, I'm talking about Chris.
All I know is that the two agencies don't agree on what happened to Sebastian.
That's unusual too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I personally, I tend to lean away from that. I don't know why. I guess just because I still think he's with us. Like,
I do too. I feel in my heart that he's.
I do too.
Yeah,
I want
to say
this
that
right here. 1 second.
There's been a couple leads, and that lead was no good. They've confirmed it wasn't Sebastian. It did look a lot like him, but it shows you how much Chris Proudfoot knew Sebastian and knew him better than Seth.
Oh, he did not. No, we didn't, Nerdy. No, we didn't. Sorry, I disagree with that. I think he was a hell of a lot more controlling than Seth. Guys, it is 1:22 in the freaking morning. I did not realize that I have a date with my bed. So I have to be up early in the morning. God. And it's already early in the morning. God. I did not realize it was that late. I started late today, so that's probably why. Guys, we're going to continue to follow this. There's some more on this that I'm going to talk about, but I'm telling you, we need to stay focused on when, I mean, yeah, I think it's important to talk about, things that happened in the past, but as far as finding Sebastian, we need to talk about that night. We can say, Seth should have done this, or Chris or Katie should have done that. But we need to focus on that night, in my opinion. That's what we need to focus on. I have to be up early also. Good night. Thank you, Miss Millie. Really do appreciate. We need a chicken party. I'll give you a mini chicken party. How about that? With Edgar and KK.
Katie! Christopher! Daniel! Katie! Christopher! Daniel!
And it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. Mr. Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh. Suck it now.
Oh.
Suck it now.
Lord, kumbaya.
Oh my God, look at Chris. Is that Chris? Is that Chris? All right, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really, really do appreciate you all. You guys are amazing. Special thank you to mods, members, chat, everyone in here. Really, really, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for the gifts as well. Let me do this really quickly. We just hit 43.7. That's amazing. Thank you guys for subbing up. Thank you Annabo, thank you for the sparkles, my love. Joan Marie, I apologize. Thank you for the 30 jewels. Joan Marie, thank you for the makeup brush. Appreciate you. And Wicked Curves, thank you for the flower, my dear. Tori, thank you for the clutch. Appreciate you. I March, thank you for the makeup brush. I March, thank you for the heart. And I March, thank you for the happy poo. Make sure that's not any more right there. Okay, and is that the same one? Okay, let me make sure this one. Whoops. Okay, I think we're good. Oops. Allison, thank you for the flower, my dear. Appreciate you very much. I think that's all. If I missed any, I really apologize. It's not intentional, I promise. Marie, so good to see you. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much, Spirit. All right, guys. Love you all. Take good care of yourself. Justice for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's going to be 18 December 7th. It's crazy. Take good care of yourselves. You only get so many trips around the sun. Much love, everyone. Good night.